This is Sudden Impact.
MoreTNA on-air changes. TNA holds tryout matches at their latest tapings. An update on CodyDeaner's TNA status and a TNA wrestler injured at Under Siege. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sudden Impact, your premier destination for news on TNA wrestling. So without further ado, let's get started. In breaking news, the MMA Draw has confirmed that WWE acquired a controlling stake, 51% basically, of Lucha Libre AAA through a joint venture with Mexican firm Philip, as part of NBC Universal's post-Peacock and WWE time slot availability. So they would also go on to state that similar approaches have been made to Anthem for a controlling stake in TNA. Now, personally, with what TNA has been like in recent times, with the partnership with WWE, in terms of its booking and more of the focus being on the NXT wrestlers rather than the TNA wrestlers, and just using it as another WWE light, and makes me feel uncomfortable because it means that if TNA were to do this, then the professional wrestling industry would just become so much smaller and basically you've already got WWE basically already owning Evolve, and with this new acquisition of AAA, and they've got their hands in some other pretty significant and important wrestling companies all around the world. I mean, look what happened to the British scene after WWE NXT UK came around, and then after NXT UK went away, the UK scene hasn't been the same. It's just really, really a scary prospect of what it could mean if Anthem was to sell a controlling stake to WWE. But I also feel that WWE and TNA and Anthem could work out an arrangement to sell a portion, like a minority stake, and still have the NBC Universal TV negotiation go through, which would be the only way that I would it'd be the only way that this would work for TNA. But I will discuss this more in a video I'm releasing on this very subject in the next few days. So I just want to know about this. Are you happy if WWE purchases a controlling stake in TNA and helps them get onto a bigger platform in terms of their viewership and in the US, or do you feel that they should WWE should still purchase a minority stake in TNA and still help them get with this new bigger TV deal and bigger streaming deal as well? Or do you feel that WWE should just leave TNA alone? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'm really interested to know what you guys think. Okay, so now for the rest of the show. Are you liking this video?
Want to see more? Then like, share and subscribe to this channel. It's free and it helps me produce more content like this. Go ahead and do it so I can continue to bring you the news from TNA Wrestling. And now, back to the show.
And another internal memo has been leaked detailing TNA management telling its wrestlers that they are banning slapping and throat slicing gestures on all of their programming. Management have said they will fine anyone who breaches these new protocols. Now, I think this is a very strange move from TNA, but as has been previously seen from wrestling news outlets, jumping the gun, especially with the recent memo saying about the blading and the excessive bleeding policy that TNA told their wrestlers about. I will wait and see how it plays out before providing any further comments on this. It's also being reported that officials are very frustrated that the internal details from these meetings and memos are getting leaked. So they will be on the lookout for anyone just basically going to media sources and just leaking all that information. Fightful Select has also reported that TNA conducted tryout matches at the most recent set of tapings that they did, after the Under Siege. Now, Fightful said that current TNA wrestlers were encouraged to watch some of the matches and offer their feedback in terms of basically who would they like to see work be offered a contract, and basically offer some of the wrestlers that had tryouts as well some tips and make it a little bit more professional, if with the looks to them being signed for TNA. Now, there was no word on which wrestlers had the tryout matches, but I do like the idea of TNA holding these tryout matches every so often throughout the year. Now, we have seen TNA go on a bit of a signing spree recently, with signing Indy Hartwell, Octagon Jr., Myla Grace, and Harley Hudson. So it'll be interesting to see who TNA sign as a result of these matches and tryouts. Just comment on how many wrestlers you think that TNA should sign from these tryouts, and if you know any of the wrestlers, of any of the names of the wrestlers that were at these tryouts, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, just let me know if you think that also re-signing former wrestlers, like the reappearance or a re-signing of Raj Singh, who hadn't been seen for a while, pretty much since Mustafa Ali first left TNA, and it was a little bit So he returned at Under Siege and basically in a match against Mustafa Ali and the rest of Order 4 now, as they're going by. CodyDeaner was present at TNA's most recent tapings as well. Now, you may be asking, why is this? Well, it's also because he has a backstage role as a producer. Now, this continues the trend of TNA hiring wrestlers or people that were a part of their program, like wrestlers in front of the programming, for these backstage roles, like names like Gail Kim and Christy Hemme, who have now both been released by TNA, did make the transition over to these backstage roles, with Kim being the creative lead for the Knockouts division, and then Hemi also returning as in the backstage role of being the senior marketing person as well. Now, this also continues the trend of current wrestlers as well, such as Sami Callihan and Alicia Edwards, having some of these roles as well, even while they're still actively competing in TNA. So it remains to be seen if Deaner is now given a specific role, or he would just be a road agent or a producer, as it were. Apparently, Tessa Blanchard was injured, and with sources in TNA confirming that she had a suspected concussion from her match at Under Siege with Ariana Grace. Now, this was revealed after a social media post criticized a few notable botches during that match. Now, at this stage, the updates on her injury are unclear, and there is no official word on when she will return to the ring. Now, yes, I do agree that Tessa Blanchard has done and said some horrible things in the past, and I'm not here to defend her at all, but I'm just saying that when people view these matches and there is a noticeable botch or something like that, and they go and voice their displeasure at the particular wrestler or the company, but without knowing the full story behind it, it's just creating a culture of negativity and toxicity that just shouldn't be within the wrestling world. However, wrestlers are doing what they do purely to provide entertainment for the fans. And as Jim Ross has said many times, this ain't ballet. It is a very dangerous thing that wrestlers are doing. So please, if a wrestler's move doesn't happen as smoothly or how it normally should, don't complain about it. Just wait for a statement to be released after the match. Even in a interview, they would give an update on what went wrong, and because it may just be that she picked up an injury in that match or something else. Now, I wanted to finish the episode by just paying a tribute to a wrestler that passed away a couple of weeks ago, and who was quite a revolutionary wrestler for the entire industry. Now, this wrestler is Sabu. And he basically changed the way wrestling is viewed in the modern era. So in the 80s and 90s and even into the 2000s, he wrestled consistently. Now, being trained by his uncle, the original Sheik, who also trained Rob Van Dam and a few others. Now, Sabu would make his start in the wrestling industry by wrestling in Japan for companies which employed the more extreme or violent type matches. Now, he would then move back to the US and really make his name there in ECW, which borrowed ideas and match types from the those Japanese promotions. Now here, Sabu would become a legend to ECW fans with his devil-may-care attitude and personal risks he took just to entertain the ECW fans. He left ECW in the late 90s, citing frustrations over late payments from owner and head booker Paul Heyman, and went to WCW, and his character basically was watered down so heavily that it was thought that Eric Bischoff was deliberately doing this just to stick it to him and the other ECW wrestlers. So Sabu would leave WCW and rejoin ECW just before it went out of business, unfortunately. He would then move on to the independent circuit with wrestling for companies that had a similar style of match in like ECW, and he would also join TNA at this point, where he would have a career of revitalization, and basically compete in matches with some of the former ECW wrestlers as well, former WWE wrestlers, and TNA original wrestlers such as Abyss. Now, during his series of matches and rivalries with Abyss, Sabu would put his body through literal hell. I mean, just to get Abyss over, like with the fans. This involved being involved in the first ever barbed wire massacre match that TNA put on, Monsters Ball matches, and various other matches which were just filled with violence and weapons and just sheer brutality. Now, in 2005, Sabu would leave and join WWE as part of the first ECW One Night Stand event. And then coming back the next year at the 2006 event, but this time as an official member of the new WWE ECW brand, and he would go on to wrestle for ECW's program, like show on WWE. He would only wrestle with the ECW revival for a short while, because he was also involved in the same police incident that ended Rob Van Dam's ECW and WWE championship run. So with this, Sabu's push was immediately halted and slipped down the card further and further. Now he would return to the independent scene once again and make sporadic appearances for TNA, with the most substantial being the 2010 Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, which basically he was signed for a short while with TNA afterwards as well. And then he would, after this run finished in TNA, he would then return to the independent scene and wrestle for smaller companies, and make an appearance like here or there in one of the larger companies, again like TNA and AEW. So while I didn't watch Sabu wrestle in the 90s, mainly because I was young and only knew about WWE back then, and my parents wouldn't have been very pleased with me watching ECW. So when I was first introduced to Sabu's wrestling, and and was with when I watched the first ECW One Night Stand event, and also the following years. I was like in awe of Sabu as he seemingly managed to brush off like injuries that could and have ended careers, and basically that really for someone to be that passionate about wrestling, that they're willing to take all those risks, means that they truly must love the sport. However, all of these injuries and did come at a terrible cost, as he was in unimaginable pain and managing it with painkillers. It was ultimately the cause of his tragic death. I mean, Sabu was truly a game changer for professional wrestling. Whether you like his style or not, he went out there and put himself through some of the most brutal matches just so he could entertain the fans. So he deserves our respect, and for that, TNA wants to honor him and his legacy. They should put him in the Hall of Fame later this year. All right, that's all for this episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Leave your comments down below and ring the bell for notifications on new videos. Also, catch this episode wherever you get your podcasts. So until next time, I'm John, and this has been Sudden Impact.